Welcome back, guys, to another video of mine, and today we are doing a vlog, and this vlog is just more of information for you guys that are out there wondering what it's like to join the military in the middle of this crazy pandemic quarantine time. Stay tuned and we'll get right into it.
So to speak, you're quick to change your mind.
You know, it's been hard for me to keep my freaking water in my system because I suck at drinking water. I need to get better at it, definitely. Corona. I think I just inhaled some water. Oh, I've recorded this video about 3 or 4 times. So this better be the one that I feel the most helpful for you guys. The other ones I just rambled on, like I am now. So let's get into it. So you want to join the military, but you're uncertain in these kind of times whether it's possible or not, or if it's even worth it. What is it like joining the military during quarantine? In lockdown. So I can give you a little bit of information on this, considering I'm in the Air Force now. I'm not an airman yet, but I am definitely in the Air Force. I have signed my contracts and everything. I am now in the DEP program, so I'm just waiting for my ship dates, which I'll get more into that on why I don't know when my ship dates are. Yeah, like I said, I'll let you guys know further in the video. I started my whole process of trying to get into the Air Force about couple months ago, in February, actually, like February 16th or something like that is when I decided to actually contact a recruiter. Well, sent out my paperwork so I could get information on who my recruiter would be. Back then, the quarantine and the pandemic and everything hadn't been a thing really yet. Like, we knew that the virus was a thing in Wuhan, China? Is that how you say that? I'm not sure, don't judge. Anyways, China was experiencing the whole lockdown situation, but we hadn't yet. We didn't even know it was in the United States yet. We were just preparing, I believe is what that stage was. When I did everything, this was completely different than what it is now, compared to now. Most places right now, if you were to say, you put in your application online, obviously you would have to do it online because some places are closed with their recruiting places. I put mine in through online, so I didn't go to a recruiter's place. I just put it in online through the airforcereserves.com. You're gonna fill out an application now. Most people are gonna have to fill out an application. The reason for this is because the quarantine has shut down a lot of recruiting stations right now. I know, for instance, that the Army and the Navy have shut down their offices right now when it comes to recruiting. I've also heard that they had quit doing BMT or basic training, so they weren't accepting new recruits for a minute there. I've also heard, like yesterday, that they actually, at least the Army, started to do recruiting again. So, and they've opened BMT, but I don't know if that's true or not, so don't quote me. This is just what I've heard down the grapevine. If you were to say you were to join today, what would it be like? You would have to probably, like I said, do everything online. Everything, like from your application up to even having to talk to a recruiter. It'll probably be on the phone most likely. You're probably gonna have to call them and or they call you and be like, hey, listen, I want to join. And then they'll probably go through the whole process online, like the questionnaire and everything. And they might even send you documents to sign through email, or probably email. I mean, it's an interesting time to be going into the military. It's definitely not something to stop you to go into the military with the pandemic. Like, don't stop trying to do it just because you're scared of the pandemic. Yes, it's scary. The virus itself is scary, but don't let this stop you from doing what you want to do. So, like I said, you're going to have to probably do all your information online now and through calls and maybe through FaceTime. I don't know exactly. I didn't have to go through this because, like I said, I started my process back in February, and by then I was still able to meet up with my recruiter, talk to him in his office. Like, I was able to actually have communication. There was no quarantine yet. Let's say you got through all that, you're done. You're done signing, your life away a little bit. Like, you sign your life away a little bit saying, hey, yeah, I do want to join. I give permission for you to put me into Meps, which is your next thing that might be completely different. Well, no, it will be completely different compared to my experience. I went to Meps a couple weeks after I got with my recruiter. So I believe I went to Meps February 25th, if I remember correctly. February 25th is when I went to Meps. By then, the virus has caused a lot of issues with a lot of cruise lines. Really wasn't in the United States just yet. I mean, it kind of was, but it wasn't a big deal yet. A lot of people were just saying, stay away from cruises, don't go to cruises, don't do it, it's bad, whatever. So, right now with Meps, if you're not familiar, Meps is the military entry process station. This place, they will evaluate you physically and mentally to see if you're fit enough. They make sure you're all there and you're, fit enough to be able to even do the military. What I've heard is that there's some states right now that completely shut down Meps. If your state's one of them, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to probably join the military until those open up again, which might be by the end of May, like the end weeks of May. We'll see on that. Like I said, this is all just like guesstimation. I'm not in charge of any of this. I'm just going by what people are assuming and, logistics, all that. So please do not quote me on some of this stuff because I am not a professionalist, but, yeah. So, Meps. Yes, some states have closed their Meps because you have a lot of people that go through Meps every day to try to join the military. And these Mep stations are not designed for space. It's more of like get as many people as you can in and get them out so you can, continue the process with everyone else that's trying to go into the military. It's just, there's a lot of people in a crowded room, and there's lots of people, so that's why they've closed some of the Meps down. I might have a list somewhere on the screen showing you which states have closed down their Meps as of right now, but if I don't, then I'm just being lazy, and I'm sorry, you're gonna have to Google it. Anyways, but yeah, and then there's other Meps out there in the states that haven't shut down, but they've cut how many people they can go into Meps at a time. So I'm not quite sure how that's working right now because when I went to Meps, it wasn't an issue yet. Like I said, it was just cruise lines that were getting put in a tough situation, but the rest of the world, rest of the United States was fine. So right now I know Meps is probably going to be following the same rules. If they are still open, they're going to follow the same rules as any other place, like what the CDC tells you to do, like 6 feet apart, wear masks, gloves, I don't know, probably like everything the CDC is telling them to do, they're doing right now. So they're cutting a lot of people on being able to go to Meps all at once. So if you do end up getting to be able to go to Meps, just keep in mind you're probably going to have to wait for a long time for a Meps date. And that's just simply because, the Meps that you may be going to already has like 50 people going one day, and you can't go that day because there's already 50 people, and they usually have 100 people that go a day. So keep that in mind. Wait times are just going to be long, and it's just because they have to push everybody back so they can get only a minimum of people going to Meps at a time. So just keep that in mind. It's definitely going to be a waiting game, and it's not going to be fun, but that's the military. It's always a waiting game. You hurry up, but the military makes you wait, because it's a whole nother situation with that. But yeah, so that's how Meps is probably going to be going for you guys. I can't really give you much information on that either because, like I said, I went at a time that it was not affected just yet. If you live in Utah, where I live in Utah, so if you live in Utah, our Meps here in Utah is still open. So if you're in Utah, do it. You got this. Just get get it over with. Go to Meps. So what happens after Meps? Let's say you go through Meps, you get qualified, you know, everything you don't get disqualified or anything. You go through and you pass everything. Once you pass everything, they'll have you swear in that day. You're gonna go in, you're gonna swear, like, can't remember what the swear-in day is. Like, you raise your right hand and you swear to the president that you'll defend it and the country, and yeah, it's an interesting thing. I didn't get to experience that at Meps because I was disqualified because I had to get a waiver for self-harm, and which got approved. I'm so excited. But yeah, guys, that's probably what you're gonna have to do, is swear in that day, and then after that, you're officially in the DEP program. What is the DEP program? The DEP program is the delayed entry process, right? Delayed entry program. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Delayed entry program. It's where you've already signed your contracts and everything, and you're ready to go to your basic training, and you're just waiting for your day to come, or you're waiting for dates. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So I can give you a lot of information with this, at least with the Air Force side. I'm not quite sure with the Army, Navy, or Marines, but I'm pretty sure, at least the Marines, I know it's going to be somewhat similar as the Air Force right now, but I can't tell you much about the Army or the Navy because, like I said, Navy's closed still that I know of about basic training. And I'm not quite sure about the Army because I think they just opened up, and I'm not quite sure how that's going right now. But Marines I can, because both of us have been open for this whole time, and I think we're continuing to stay open as long as we can anyways. Yeah, I'm in the DEP program, and I've been in the DEP program for about almost 3 weeks now. It's interesting. I don't know if this is for every branch or if this is for like active duty, reserves, or National Guard, let's say that. Since I'm in the Air Force Reserve, this is how it is for me. We have drills every month as if I'm already in the Air Force. So I haven't gone to basic yet, but I'm still having to go every month up to the base to do a drill. The drill is going to be, instead of like doing the job that I'm picked for, it'll be me and a whole bunch of other trainees that are just waiting to go to basic. We all get together and we kind of mock basic training. Well, at least they teach us things before we go to basic. So they'll teach us how to, stand at attention. They'll teach us formations. They'll teach us, our ranks and chain of commands that they can anyways. And they teach us the Airman Song, the Airman Creed, you name it. I know all this already because your girl's been in this, trying to join the Air Force for 2 years. And so she's been on the ball. I know the Airman Song, the Creeds, the ranks I'm a little iffy on, working on that chain of command all the way until I get to my squadrons and stuff like that. I know everything, guys. I've been waiting for this day. Anyways, yeah, so you have drills, apparently, when, at least in the reserves, when it comes to before you even go to basic. I didn't know this. Is this a thing for everybody? Does everybody, even active duty, have to go to a drill? I'm not quite sure. I've never heard of anyone saying that when they're in the DEP program, they still have to go to a drill. No one in my life have I heard that ever said. And I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of blogs and everything, and I haven't seen that before. So when they told me I had to do a drill every month before basic, I was like, well, this is news to me. So keep that in mind. So what does that mean when you're in quarantine? So this does affect me. I swore in on March 31st, and I had to go up to the Air Force Base in, it's up past Salt Lake. Okay, so this is 3 hours away from me. 3 hours away. The base is 3 hours, and it's just, why? Anyways, that's another story. But yeah, I had to go up to the base to swear in. And this is, the reason why I'm telling you this is because it did affect me. I went up to the base and I could not bring any nobody with me. I had to go by myself because of the quarantine. So they didn't want anybody that was not authorized to go into the base even for the swearing, I couldn't bring anybody. It was just going to be me. It sucked. I wasn't really going to have anybody with me anyways, but it just lonely. It's a little lonely, I know a lot of you people probably have family and friends that would love to see you swear in. Keep that in mind. You're not probably going to be able to have them take pictures of you swearing in because of the fact of the quarantine. So I drove up to the base. I got to the gates and I could not go through the gates because I don't have an ID card to allow me into into the base. I had to wait for a guy to come pick me up. I don't know what they call him. He's like a runner or something for the recruiter. So he goes and picks up people or does errands for the recruiter, which is, I don't know I'm not sure on that, what the name is on that kind of job. But yeah, he came to pick me up. He picked me up and then he took me into the base, which was really cool because I've never been to an Air Force base or any base of any kind before. And there was jets flying all across the sky. And I was like, oh, this is so freaking cool. They were so loud and amazing. And I got to see what the life was like living in the dorms that they had on premises. And then they also showed me like the 2 gyms they had and the skate park. And they showed me the track. They showed me like everything. It was really cool to see. Well, I didn't see everything. I saw some of it, but it was way cool. It was weird because he said that it was very dead that day. Like there was no traffic or anything. And I asked him if that was normal. And he said, no, this is because of the quarantine that's happened. And he said almost everybody in the base is staying home because they were ordered to stay in quarantine unless the mission was essential. So I guess his mission was essential because he had to come pick me up and take me to the recruiter. But yeah, also swear in. He had to help me get to the place to swear in. Anyways, so we drove to a building, okay? There was no cars. There was like 2 cars in the parking lot, and it's just this big parking lot. We go in the building, and there's nobody in the buildings. Like, half the lights were turned off, and he's like, I wonder where the chaplain is. We gotta go get the chaplain. And I was like, okay. And so I'm just sitting there, and he's looking for the chaplain, and he's like, sorry, I'm trying to find him, because he should have the keys to the swearing room. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just sitting, waiting. 30 minutes passes. No chaplain. We don't know where he is. And there's nobody in this room, by the way. It's like a lobby that I was in, but it had a few desks spotted here and there. And then there was like another room that was like a conference room, it looked like. All the lights were off around that area, but yeah. So there was nobody besides me and this dude. And also there was another airman there. She was, I don't know what she said she was looking for somebody, and so she was just chilling. So, yeah, and we ended up finding the chaplain because we actually went out and found him. He's like, guys, I don't have keys to the room. The guy that does isn't working today. And we were all like, oh. And I was like, I can't do this another day. I gotta do it today. I just drove 3 hours to get here. I can't do it another day. So they were like, okay, that's fine. We'll do it right here. And I was like, in this room? And they're like, yeah, in this room. And I'm thinking, this is a lobby. There's no American flag hanging anywhere. I'm like, okay, fine, okay. They're like, all right, let's do this. I guess we're doing this. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is perfect. I mean, I'm a little salty about that because I want the experience that everyone gets when they go into the swearing room. It's just professional. It's amazing. It's that moment you're swearing your life to your country, and I didn't get that experience. I try not to be bummed about it because at least I'm still in the Air Force, but it's just like I feel like I'm getting my experience taken away from me. I feel like, and then maybe that's stupid. I shouldn't feel that way, but I keep trying to tell myself not to feel like that, but what am I supposed to do? Anyways, so we did it right there in the lobby. I stood at attention, put my right hand up, and I swore my life to my country and to the president. The chaplain also said that he was like, yeah, this is definitely awkward. He's like, I just don't have the key. And so when we left, the guy that picked me up, and we drove back in his car because we had to go to the recruiter's office, which was across the base. Anyways, he's like, yeah, that chaplain should have had a key. And I was like, oh. And he's like, yeah, they should always have a key. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, the fact that he didn't have a key means he's in trouble and he's going to be changing careers. And I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah. He, I don't know what he did, but he did something very bad and is now changing his career. And I was like, oh boy. I was like, oh, that's great. Okay. Anyways, so the chaplain guy seemed like a really nice guy. He was very young, maybe 26 is my guess. He was around my age. So he was pretty young. Once we were done with the swear-in, we ended up driving over to the recruiter's office, which was across the base. Again, parking lot was empty, and it was a huge parking lot. And there was, we went into the building. All lights were shut off except for a couple. Went in there, and there was my lady. There was the lady that was going to help me do my fingerprints. She was the recruiter for the Air Force Base up there, which is weird because I had another recruiter before. He ended up going to South Dakota. North Dakota? South Dakota. South Dakota. No, whoa. South Carolina is where he went. But yeah, he went to South Carolina, so he no longer was my recruiter. So she was supposed to be my recruiter. Ends up that she's not my recruiter anymore either. So I don't have a recruiter. I don't know what the... I don't know. But anyways. So yeah, it was just her and then the runner guy that picked me up to take me to her. So she did my fingerprints. She also, asked me a few questions. She's like, hey, so are you, what's your gender? What do you prefer? Blah, blah, blah. She just asked her, how high are you? How old are you? What's your middle name? I don't know why she did that. I don't know, but I mean, it's all on my paperwork, but it is what it is. Once I was done with that runner dude that picked me up ended up going over my contract with me and had me sign all my papers with him. Once I was done with that, they were like, yeah, so you're going to get in contact or somebody's going to contact you for your drills that you have every month. And that's when I was like, drill every month? Like before basic? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, didn't know that. That's good to know. And they're like, yeah, your recruiter should have told you. And I was like, nope, he didn't. I mean, honestly, I think the reason why he didn't tell me anything is because of my waiver. He didn't think it was going to get approved. And honestly, I didn't think it was going to get approved either, but it did. So kudos to him. I mean, even though he didn't give me all my information, I totally understand. But yeah, I got my contract signed, and the runner guy got me a whole bunch of gear. He gave me a shirt, some lanyards. He gave me a deck of cards that had the Air Force logo on it and stuff, and then like a backpack and a whole crap ton of freaking cups. Let me get you my cups real quick. I gotta show ya. All right, I got a couple things here. So, gave me a couple of these. They're just mugs that are, well, they're not even mugs. They're just cups. Yeah, they're kind of, I mean, they're cool. They're cups. But he gave me a crap ton. He's like, you know what? Here, let me just get you a whole bunch of these. But yeah, they're kind of, I mean, they're interesting. They're showing the old uniforms, of course. We no longer use ABUs. We have, OCPs now. But yeah, this guy you see on this cup is reserves, also supposedly, and he's security forces. That is what I wanted to be when I joined the Air Force, but that ended up not being the case because your girl self-harmed like an idiot when she was a kid. So, yeah, everything has a price, including things you do when you're a kid. Lame. Oh, and this is my coffee mug. They actually gave me a coffee mug. It does actually keep stuff pretty warm, even though it's just plastic. It's a good little cup. I mean, it's not crazy, but I do use it because why the heck not? Also got like 10 things of lanyards because I told them, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys actually have lanyards here. And I gave them this, okay, let me back up. So my Walmart here where I live in a small town. They have lanyards for every branch except for the Air Force. Like they have Marines, they have Army, they have Navy, they have Coast Guard, but they do not have freaking Air Force, and I don't understand it. I mean, every time I look, they never had it. So yeah, I told him that, and he was like, well, let me hook you up. So he gave me like a crap ton, and I was like, oh, thanks. I'll just give them to my local Walmart. No, just kidding. But yeah, I would show you the rest of the gear I got, but I mean, I don't think it's that interesting. Be prepared for that. If you guys have to go up to your base to sign paperwork or whatnot, it's going to be a dead town. It's going to be like only a couple people, and it's just going to be weird. Also, I was supposed to get a cat card to get onto the base every month like I'm supposed to, but I couldn't because the person that usually does it was working from home because their mission was not essential. So I don't have a card to go in for May's drill. They didn't have a drill for August, or I can't speak. They didn't have a drill for April, and that is because of the pandemic. So they canceled it for all trainees. They said that they're planning on resuming it in May, but it will just depend on how everything's gonna work, if that makes sense. So this is definitely gonna be an interesting time for you guys. Basic military training is also gonna be a little weird. Keep that in mind because basic right now, at least for the Air Force, they're doing everything with distance. So, you know, there's 6 inches, woo, that would be nothing. 6 feet apart from each person. You're also told to wear a mask, so you wear a mask. Also, completely different. They're only accepting like 600 recruits every week, I think is what they were saying. They used to accept over 900 people a week, if I remember correctly, or every 2 weeks or something like that. And now it's down to 600. And the reason why they're doing this is to help with, you know, space. They need to give enough people space. Also, I've heard, well, this is actually not just a heard fact. This is a fact because since I am in the DEP program, I get everything from the source, from the mouth. So we have been told that we have to spend 14 days in a quarantine state. So before we ship out, 14 days before our ship date, we need to quarantine ourselves. Now, this doesn't mean to stay in your house for 14 days. It means we're not allowed to go out and eat, you know, fast food. We need to just stay away from fast foods just because, you know, there's so many people touching the food. Also stay away from grocery stores, you know, buy a whole bunch as you can to just stock in the fridge for those 14 days. They say to also make sure that you're not in contact with many people. Like if you have to go to work and stuff, that's fine, but stay protected, wear a mask, wear gloves. So they're trying to do this so, you know, you can stay somewhat safe when you go to basic training. Also, I've heard basic training has their own quarantine days of like 14 days. So when you go to basic, you're there for like a week quarantined. So you don't do any basic training yet. You're just at basic being quarantined. I'm not quite sure how that is because they're not giving us information on that because even my drill sergeant doesn't even know what the heck that's all about. They just told her to tell us that, if that makes sense. Also, basic training for the U.S. Air Force has changed to 7 weeks. They've gotten rid of Airman's Week and I believe the Graduation Week, which is I don't know how I feel about this. I am a little bit terrible time. I choose the terrible times to do things. This ended up being one of them. Now, a lot of people will be like, Nikki, but you're going to be, you know, you're going to be free from the 8.5 weeks. Now you only have 7. And it's like, well, yeah, but I still have another week on top of that I'll be quarantined at basic. Don't know. It's probably still going to be strict. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be completely, you know, safe. So, I don't know. Would you guys quit fighting? Quit. Yeah, so it's just, I feel like I'm getting gypsed again with crap because I just want to go to basic, just like normal. I want to get that experience like everyone else does. I don't want special treatment. I don't want to do things weird. So when, like, I watched the ceremony, the graduation ceremony that they did on the live stream the other day for one of the classes that just graduated, or one of the flights, I should say. They all had 6 feet of distance, and nobody got any closer than 6 feet. And how is that, like, they're not gonna have drill sergeants yelling at their face anymore because, you know, that's not 6 feet apart. So, I mean, that's a completely different, like, that's a different kind of basic. That's not right to me. I want that full experience of being yelled at, please. That's weird, but I do. I want that full experience. I want to better myself as an individual. I want to be more disciplined. I want to, you know, push myself to the limit. And this kind of basic training they're introducing right now because of the pandemic is just lame. Lame. Also, they're trying to see if they can move some recruits over to a different Air Force base to do basic training. So Keesler's Air Force Base is in a trial mode right now to see if it would work as a basic training place. This makes me angry too. I hope it all fails. Honestly, I'm being negative Nancy over here, but I really hope it fails, because if it doesn't, you know who's going to Mississippi for basic training if it all goes okay? This bitch will be going, because this bitch is freaking personnel. So that means, like, that's my tech school. That's the school I go to learn my job. It's Keesler in Mississippi. And I don't want that. That's also chipping me of my experience. I don't want it. I mean, come on, people. Are you... I get very passionate about talking about that because I just do not want to do that. And I will not have a choice, because the Air Force will be like, you're going and you signed that contract, so you listen to us. And they're right. I have to listen. It sucks. Yeah, I'm gonna get gyps probably if that all goes well for them, and I really hope that it doesn't. They sent 60 recruits out there to try and see how basic military training would go for 60 of them. Don't know how it's going, and I just hope it goes terrible, because if it goes okay, your bitch is going to Keesler instead of Lackland, and I want to go Lackland. Please let me go to Lackland. I'd rather go to Lackland than have to go to Keesler and do that stupid experience. That experience is bullshit. That is not basic. That is not basic. Anyways, yeah, so basic training might change for all of you. Keep that in mind, and just a heads up on that. I don't know exactly how all the other branches are going with this. Just keeping this in mind, okay? Social distancing will be for everybody once, I'm pretty sure the Army's gonna do the whole 6-foot thing with masks and everything, just like Marines. Marines is also doing this, as the Air Force is too. So, just please stay safe out there, guys. This is, an interesting time to be alive, and an interesting time to join the military. So if you're looking for an experience that's not as hectic as it would be, like, without this pandemic, this might be the time for you to join, because it's definitely going to be, I feel like, easier for people to go to basic right now because of the 6-foot distance. Also, I don't know, just think about it. Showering. You're going to have to be 6 feet apart. I think that you would have to be probably every other head shower to shower, so you're not so close to people, which I don't know if that's a thing for you guys. Maybe, I don't know. So just keep that in mind. Also, you're not gonna have drill sergeants yelling at your face, in your face, like this close. They're gonna yell at you that close. They're gonna be like, from me to you or farther. They're gonna be like, you know. So keep that in mind. It's just gonna be a different experience. So if you don't want to be yelled at crazily in the face, you know, this might be the time for you to join, and do it quickly, because I don't last. So yeah. I don't want that. I want to be yelled at in the face so I can see if I can break. I want to break. Is that weird? I'm ready to break. I know I'm going to break, and I want to break, because I want to break so I can be built up. Like they say, I want to be, you know, trained to be confident and not to stress the freak out on stupid crap, you know? Like if someone's yelling at your face, don't freak out. It's just a thing. You know, I want to. I'm a weird person. I know. Anyways, I think that's the video for you guys. I don't know if I answered any of your questions or not, but I hope I helped a little bit. Yeah, if you guys want more videos on like what's it like to, you know, exercise with quarantine and things like that, I can definitely give you all that you need. Let me know in the comment section below. And sorry if I rambled on a little long. I tend to do that, and that's why this is like my 4th video, so I'm sorry. Alright, this ring light is literally blinding me. I can't see anything but rings now around my area, so yeah. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like the video if this did help you with some of your questions, or if you just enjoyed it in general. Let me know, again, like I said, if you have any questions, because I definitely will try to help you the best I can. Okay, guys, thank you so much. See you guys later.